We go across to Gaurav Bhatia of the BJP with us on the phone line. Gaurav Bhatia, does it mean that this is the end, the closure of the case, as Union Home Minister has also speaking at length for the first time in the last 20 years?
Absolutely. I think what has been said by the Union Home Minister resonates with every citizen of the country. The reason is very simple, that in Shri Narendra Modi ji, there is a law-abiding citizen who has firm faith in the judiciary of the country. He stood tall even during all the political targeting that he had to face. And after the verdict, it is clear now how the parties in the opposition and creatures like Teesta Setalvad, they were trying to defame him, malign him when he was working for the people of Gujarat and now for the people of the country. After the Supreme Court verdict, it can be clearly said that there is hypocrisy in the opposition camp and they tried to target Shri Narendra Modi ji, but he has been now given a clean chit by the Honorable Supreme Court and this matter should rest now.
Right. So what could possibly happen next, Mr. Bhatia, because the opposition continues to express what they have been calling as their disappointment with the judgment, sir?
This is the tactic of the opposition, that any judgment of the Supreme Court which is favorable to them is accepted and the Supreme Court is lauded. But if there is a judgment where the truth comes out and their agenda suffers a blow, then they start crying foul and they cast aspersions even on the Honorable Supreme Court. But I would say the stark difference in the approach, Shri Narendra Modi ji patiently waited for 20 years for justice to be done to him. And he did not appeal for any protest. He did not appeal for a violent movement. Whereas in the National Herald case, we are all witnessing how when these corrupt Gandhi Parivar members are facing the law and the enforcement directorate, they're trying to resort to illegal means, trying to pressurize the investigating agency. And I think this stark difference in approach, the faith that the two individuals have in Constitution is clearly borne out and people of the country can see that.
Right. Gaurav Bhatia of the BJP, thank you very much for your first point of view that we are playing out of the Union Home Minister Amit Shah's reaction. He has broken his silence 20 years later. Mohit Bhatt, my colleague, also joining us live, because the certain vested interest, how the entire conspiracy was motivated, that has been spoken at length by Amit Shah.
Well, after the yesterday's Supreme Court decision of upholding the SIT report and Gujarat High Court decision regarding giving clean chit to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we have seen top-notch leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party come out and they have addressed press conference, they have given interviews and they have basically said that it was a larger conspiracy by certain vested interests, a certain lobby, a certain ecosystem who at that particular time wanted that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, should be behind the bars.
And interrupting you, Mr. Majeed Memon is with us on the phone line. Mr. Memon, I believe if you have heard what the Union Home Minister has to say, that there were certain vested interests, even the Supreme Court has struck down the possibility of a larger conspiracy behind the riots, sir.
I had no occasion to listen to what the Home Minister has said. If you could just repeat briefly, I will react.
Sir, because he has spoken at length, sir. It is around a 40-minute interview that has played out. I'm just going to quickly give you the highlights. Now, he has been saying that the court had said in its judgment that the riots of the burning of the trains in Godhra weren't pre-planned, but they were self-motivated. He is also dismissed when it comes to the vested interest, saying that there was no professional input that could be escalated. There was the bodies that were full in the hospitals there. He has witnessed all of that, and he is saying that this is nothing but motivated and vested interest. Of course, he is naming certain NGOs who had filed several complaints in most of those police stations in Gujarat, sir.
Well, I think the statement made by the Honorable Home Minister is in terms of its impact politically. But I think we should, if you examine at the entire exercise from 2002 till date, almost 2 decades, the victim of the crime has had every right to exploit all avenues in order to seek justice. And this is what exactly Zakia did. And I think maybe that ultimately the Honorable Supreme Court may have disagreed with what she may have alleged or what was her contention. But then what is important is that Supreme Court cannot go beyond what is already on record. And Supreme Court has only to examine whether the courts below were right or wrong in giving one kind of decision. And I think in this particular case, Supreme Court felt that what SIT had done and what the courts below, that is the Gujarat High Court, did, does not need to be interfered with, or it has been rightly said, whatever has been.
That means that it has brought about an end to the case, sir? It's a closure?
No, now this closure, now I don't know, because I have no access to this long order. Only what media is saying, that the Honorable Supreme Court has said that there was no larger conspiracy, there was no intention on the part of anybody to victimize minorities or anything of that kind. But since I have not examined the entire order, it would not be appropriate on my part to comment.
All right, sir. Mr. Memon, thank you very much for pointing out exactly now with the opposition. Also, Mohit, if I can come back to you on that, they have been expressing their disappointment, saying that the riots happened. Why isn't anyone noticing that? But when the Supreme Court, in its appointment of the SIT, that gave a clean chit. Even when the matter was challenged later on in the Gujarat High Court, that also gave a clean chit. Mr. Ranjan is with us on the phone line. Mr. Ranjan, now many of those leaders from the opposition had been expressing their disappointments. Today, the Union Home Minister has broken his silence. Exactly what happened in the case and since last 20 years? Mr. Ranjan?
Yes, I just want to say it. Sometime judiciary or judicial pronouncements may not take cognizance of many things, but one thing is very crystal clear. Mr. Ehsan Jafri is no more. Who killed him? How he was killed? Where he was killed? Under which conspiracy he was with us? It is a matter of fact that he was killed. One may not be, you see, take responsibility, but he is no more. He may not get justice, but it is true, he is no more with us. Mr. Modi or Mr. Shah may feel that they are on a right path, but Mr. Ehsan Jafri was killed. Who has killed him? That's the main question. That's the main question.
All right, sir. But this is also coming on at the time when the Union Home Minister seems to be saying that the wrong people and the person were rather being incriminated in a case that is being cited by the Supreme Court, that there was no larger conspiracy. Rather, the conspiracy was to malign the name of the state of Gujarat. Mr. Anjan, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Udit Raj of the Congress Party is also with us. Mr. Udit Raj, you have been expressing your disappointment openly. This is the Union Home Minister who has spoken for the first time on the case, sir.
I reiterate my stand, and SIT could do anything. Now also they can do anything, and conclusion of SIT had denied completely the truth, and afterwards there is no further discussion needed in this case. The Supreme Court has already ratified the findings of SIT, but what I have to say
but
about
sir, what
SIT,
happens to the SIT findings in the 1984 riots, sir? Because this is what is being mentioned by the Union Home Minister. The riots that happened in Delhi that went on for 3 long days, and the Sarkar was absolutely chup.
But at the same, of course, in the that was also wrong, and you can't say that Sarkar was neutral at that time. But in this case, it's a separate case, and different from that Ehsan Jafri was surrounded by mob and was calling in the office of Chief Minister, even to center also, but he wasn't given any help. So that was completely different. Of course, in '84 there was sudden spurt and euphoria But in this case, what happened, it was completely planned. However, SIT says that, SIT can say that nothing happened, not even Godhra happened, not any riot happened.
So the SIT has not made any such sort of a statement. In fact, it was the SIT that was formed on the directions of the Supreme Court, and the Union Home Minister just in his interview has said that the Gujarat Sarkar at that point had given its consent to be a part of the SIT for the investigation. Thank you very much, Mr. Udit Raj, for your point of view as we continue to play out more